Fenway South, around the stadium of JetBlue Park here in Fort Myers, Florida, the spring training home of the Boston Red Sox. Since 2012, the Sox have assembled. The entire team is together, and the road to the 2026 baseball season is underway. By the end of this week, there will be baseball. The Northeastern Huskies coming to play the Red Sox on Friday. Until then, we've got workouts and we've got live coverage of those spring training workouts right here. Welcome, everybody. It's 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 49 years, and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Tom Caron along with Lou Merloni, who finally got some golf in over the weekend. How'd you hit him?
Not bad. Like the typical first 9 struggle, second 9 wake up a little bit. It was nice to get out.
Isn't it funny? Sometimes I feel like I played my best golf first couple times out because
Yeah.
You're just happy to golf. You're not thinking about all the stupid little things. Then you get serious about it and away it goes. We don't often say this when we come on the air. Absolutely nothing will be going on behind us over this hour. This will be the quietest you have seen the fields on any shows we have done. And that's because as we speak, the Red Sox, to a man, are getting measured for their official height and width, I guess, for the Major League Baseball ABS, the automatic ball and strike review system, which will be put into place this year. Every strike zone based on the exact measurements of every player. So this is serious stuff. Usually you come in, you're 5'10 this year, you're 5'9 last year. Congratulations, we'll give you the extra inch. You're good to go. This time it matters to a nano of an inch.
This is when the short guys want their real height, right? Because they want a shorter zone. What do you think about it? It's okay, we got an ABS system. We're going to say, what's a strike, what's a ball? Well, Caleb Durbin's strike zone is different than Aaron Judge's, right? One's 5'7", one's 6'8". So they have to get that straight. So it's individualized. It's been worked on in the minor league, so it's not like this is anything new. But it's a very important part of the whole process. Quick
refresher course, you get 2 challenges. Only the pitcher, catcher, or hitter can challenge. Pretty much has to be instantaneous. If you got a second or two to make a decision, tap on the helmet is how you ask for the review. 2 mistakes, right? Twice you are not correct in your challenge, then you're done. And it's back in the umpire's hands. You get another one in extra innings if that keeps going. How do you think this will affect the game at the major league level?
I think it's going to be interesting. Obviously, a lot of the managers and coaching staffs, they're getting sort of prepped by the minor league side of it, right? The AAA. This is where Chad Tracy comes in to play the manager down in Worcester. They have lived it. They have worked through the kinks. So I think it's, do you want to use some of your challenges in that first, second, third inning? Or do you want to wait till later in the game? It's hard, right? Because a rally in baseball can happen with 2 outs and nobody on. We've seen it. So it's like, just save it for the important spots. But I do think you're going to see it later on in games. Guys on base, 3-2 counts. And then it comes down to the hitter. Like, some of these guys know the strike zone. Those will be people that I think they trust.
I go back to the days when you were playing. You're such a competitor. Like, he's saying save it for the important moments or save it for the. But if you believe that was an egregious call, how do you not tap the helmet right away instinctively?
Some guys think every pitch is the most important pitch of the game, right? To them. So, and I'm with you. Like, I play with no challenge system on the bases. So when you were safe and they called you out, there's nothing you could do about it. Obviously now the ABS is another one, right? The 3-2 especially. You work a big at bat, 3-2. He throws it 3-4 inches off the dish. He rings you up. There's nothing you could do about it back in the day. You just had to wear it. Now, at least you got a system in place for the egregious calls. Just like instant replay, trying to get rid of the egregious calls. Will be interesting to see how this thing sort of plays out, especially early in the season.
I'm glad you brought up the base review, though, because how many times do you see it? As soon as the guy goes in, he comes up doing this. You got to review. You got to review. I'm safe. I'm safe. Everybody thinks they've got it down.
Yeah.
Right? Every hitter's going to think it's a ball. Every pitcher's going to think it's a strike. I really think this spring training for a lot of teams is going to be about curbing the tendencies of these guys to beg and to compete and to ask.
Well, and I think, in talking to some of the guys in the minor leagues that have really dealt with it in the past, and some of the big league coaches that have now been educated on it, or at least some data have been presented, the catchers is probably the best informed. Every pitcher thinks they want everything, okay? And they may be in a spot where this pitch has always been a strike my whole career. It's actually off the plate. Now with the new system, they may not get it. But as far as the hitters go, the one thing that I was told was that the inner half is the one they don't really see very well. You know, usually if a pitch is away, they can see it better off the plate, maybe high, things like that. But in is where a lot of hitters sometimes lose the pitch. You know, maybe they're looking soft away, and that fastball in, you think it's way in, but it's in on the plate. So to me, the hitters, it's going to come down to trust. You got a free swinging guy that, you know, that's high chase rate and swings outside the zone. I'm not so sure I'm going to allow him to make too many challenges.
The game has inched towards the pitcher now for years, right? These guys throw harder than ever before. They have more stuff than ever before. They have filthy breaking pitches. Offense has gone down over the years. Several of the rules now have been trying to bring offense back. You can't shift anymore. That's supposed to create more hits, more offense. By and large, when you talk to guys in AAA, they will tell you this favors the hitter.
Yes.
Because now you're making the pitcher come back into your nitro zone. That's where you can do some damage.
Yeah, and listen, there still are pitchers that are strikes that are called balls, right? That the catcher, so they'll still help some pitchers. But for the most part, it really dials in the strike zone. And I think more importantly on the umpire side of it, it really holds them accountable. You know, they really have to tighten up this zone and not go too far out of it and give balls because they're going to be corrected. Nobody wants to be corrected. So that's some of that data has shown in the minor leagues that, like, the hitting and the slug has gone up because the hitters now are a little more dialed in the middle of the plate rather than outside the edges thinking, well, this guy's going to go out there. He's getting that call. Well, he's not going to get that call anymore, right? Because now we're basing off ABS. So there has shown some tendencies where it's a plus for offense, and I think that's good for the game.
Red Sox fans haven't seen a lot of it. I think about a half dozen games at spring training last year because they only did it in ballparks here at spring training that already had. Now every team is going to have the technology you'll be using this spring training as a fan to see how it works, to get used to it, as a team to try to figure out the best strategies of when to challenge, who to allow to challenge. Nobody knows this system better than Nathan Hickey. He was the primary catcher for the Worcester Red Sox last year, over 100 games behind the plate for the Woo Sox. Here in camp, I spoke with him about his experience with the ABS review.
From year one, when I was in AAA in 24, it was, at least for me, it was kind of sporadic. Like, it would be one call would be bad, another one would be right. So it's kind of like, pick your poison. Are you going to challenge early? Are you going to challenge late? Like, kind of just luck of the draw with that. But in last year, it got way better. The umpires got way better, and the zone was more consistent.
I feel like, and we went through this with instant replay at major league level, like, at the beginning, you're like, the umpires, you're kind of airing them out. You're like, no, that was a bad call. Was that part of the process at the beginning?
I mean, yeah. I mean, nobody likes to be wrong, and especially when there's, however many people are in the stands and, someone challenge you and you end up being wrong. I mean, you're not going to like that. So just on a smaller level in AAA, I mean, it's you're going to get embarrassed if you get it wrong. But, I mean, no one wants to, embarrass you. But, like, at the same time, like, the zone is the zone.
Did you have pitchers who wanted to challenge all the time? Were some guys like, oh, my God, like, any ball is a bad call?
Well, I mean, I'm sure a bunch of pitchers are going through, throwing it as hard as they can, and their head's moving all over the place. And then they see the catcher move the ball, and it's like, oh, my God, like, it looked like it was right in the middle of his body when, it was an inch or two off the plate at first. So, like, it's tough for a pitcher. But, I mean, it's kind of just the feel of, what, your team wants and what your team's looking for.
Do you feel you got better at judging as this went on? Like, that won't get overturned, this will get overturned?
I mean, as a catcher, you kind of know the zone, and you kind of know, what the umpire's going to call. If he's, he misses calls at the bottom, if he misses them at the top, so you kind of get a feel that way. As it went on, I felt like I got a better understanding of the zone offensive-wise. But the zone's small. It's way smaller than you think, but then at the same time, it's bigger than you think. Like, a pitch that looks like way out there could have just clipped, like, even if, like, just a little fraction of the ball's touching it, it's a strike. So, like, sometimes it gets tough that way.
I've heard a few guys say that if you use them up, that strike zone gets bigger because now it's the umpire again.
No, for sure. I mean, if the umpire knows that, this team doesn't have any more challenges left, like that, there's no way that he's going to get embarrassed or, there's no way that his call is going to get overturned. So, I mean, it's going to get bigger.
Ask you finally, do you feel it favors the hitter? Like, most guys that say, it sort of brings it in a little bit. Now the hitter can focus on the zone.
Well, I mean, pitchers are so good now. Everyone's throwing 100 miles an hour. So, like, yeah, I mean, I would say that it favors the hitter, but, like, all pitchers nowadays are disgusting. So, like, you got to, kind of find some kind of balance.
Awesome. Good stuff. Appreciate that. As you quote a camp, all pitchers nowadays are disgusting.
Yeah.
So God help us any way you can, please.
He brings up some really interesting points. I'd be curious to see how I think they're going to handle it different in spring training, be more experimental, right? And then as camp goes on, they kind of really dial in. They have so much data and how they want to execute this thing. But that one point that he brought up, if a team does use their challenges and they use them up in the 4th or 5th inning, and now all of a sudden this umpire's got this freedom to kind of call his normal zone, which he might be able to expand. Do you always want to have a challenge throughout the whole game just to kind of hold the umpire more accountable, just to try to tighten him up a little bit and not give him that freedom?
The threat of the review will bring that strike zone back in a little bit.
Yeah.
I thought it was also interesting, Vicky told me before we got going, he said when it first started, as a catcher, you kind of didn't want to challenge because you just upset the umpire, and now you're depending on him the rest of the night. So the last thing you want to do is be showing him up in the first at-bat of the game. You got to factor that in.
Yeah. I think there'll be a lot of things factored in, quite frankly, and it's not just a challenge system, but it's really like the pitch clock when we first saw it. Right now I feel like, which was the idea from the beginning, we don't notice there was a pitch clock. The game is just quicker. It's like now they may not even need it this year. This will be something similar to where teams will be experimenting or trying to figure out, as he pointed out too, there are some umpires that miss low, that miss away, that miss in. They have all this data on these umpires, so that might be, hey, today we could challenge something away because he often misses out there. So today, if you feel like something away is a ball that he calls a strike, he's been known for that. So we can be aggressive on those calls. So it's all about analytics, TC. They have so much data already on everything. They have an idea how to run it.
One thing I didn't ask you, I was just thinking about as we were talking, the setup, the one knee framing has been such an emphasis. Does it start to bring that back a little bit because maybe framing isn't quite as important? You're not stealing strikes anymore because you can go to review.
I think that's the next step if they ever went to a computerized strike zone, which I don't see them ever doing.
Every pitch was being called by...
Every pitch is the computer. If that's the case, it doesn't matter if he's a good framer or not. You could put anybody back there if they can throw the baseball and stop a running game. But with this, you're still looking for the framing. And another good point, too, like why pitchers shouldn't do it. Number one, they think everything's a strike. But, their head is turning and moving, and these catchers are so good now. They're taught to catch the ball, bring it into the zone, no matter where it is. Almost like old school Little League. You see a pitch out of the zone, they bring it down here, and you're like, umpires used to get upset at that. Now it's just accepted. So by the time the pitcher looks, every pitch is right here. And he's like, what do you mean it's a ball, right? So they probably shouldn't be challenging a thing.
Well, Chris Sale said he never will.
Well, Chris Sale also said he'll never shake a catcher, so I'm not surprised.
Chris Sale is also winning over the admiration of every umpire everywhere.
100%.
So they got to play the long game sometimes. We are at the end of sort of a cycle of changes to the game.
Yeah.
Right, with the pitch clock you already mentioned, the losing contact with the bag, the review there, the expanded review, the bigger bases, like a lot of little tweaks, no shifting I mentioned earlier. Feels like the product is as good as it's been in a long time for a consumer. For a fan watching the baseball game, it's quicker, the pace is moving, the games aren't being lost on a blown call. Like, it's a damn good product right now.
And you're seeing data to back it up, right? Like, attendance is up for whatever year in a row. Ratings are up around the game. So it's just such a better product. For years, the game was criticized for not willing to change. And it was fair criticism. It was like, listen, the game's slowing down. We got to do something. Well, with the pitch clock, with the replay, and now the ABS, I feel like it's starting to get locked in to where it's a much better product. It's more entertaining. There's more activity. So nobody gets upset about, everybody gets upset about egregious calls. Why can't we fix them? Well, we did it with the challenge system on the base pass and catches. Now we're doing it at home plate, and I think it's a good product.
All right, the official word came down last night. Roman Anthony, the news going off to Team USA. It's official, all 5 Red Sox outfielders are gone. They're all going away to compete in the World Baseball Classic.
6 if you count Eaton.
6 if you count Eaton. It'll be the spring of Christian Campbell. We are going to see some Christian Campbell over the course of these spring training games.
I saw him walking in today asking him about left field because I see him working out there. The work ethic's never in question. Like, if this kid, he's going to figure it out just by the way he works. He said, well, game practice is really the one way to really improve. I said, well, you should get about 150 at-bats this camp because everybody's gone. He's the starting left fielder here, I think, for the next 30 days.
And so, with Roman Anthony gone, a couple of things come to mind, and he just spoke. You're going to hear that in just a couple of minutes here. But A, He got the official word last night, and that meant that the insurance was covered. We've seen guys with problems with that. That's kind of the final affirmation that the oblique is fine. He's put in the work. He is fully healthy, which is great news for the Red Sox.
Yeah, because he's finished the year in the IL, right? And so there was some question whether that was going to be okay. And I thought you asked a great question in that, all these guys that are playing in the WBC came to camp with a different routine a little bit, right? Preparing. We saw a lot of early lives. We saw the guys in WBC, the hitters, getting extra at-bats, live at-bats. He came in not knowing. Luckily, he's Roman Anthony, and he's always prepared, and he's ready to go, so I don't think it's really going to be a problem. But quite an honor. This kid last year in camp, we were wondering, could he possibly make this team out of camp? Maybe somewhat of a long shot, given his history in the crowded outfield. A year later, he's representing the country with some of the best players in the world, and you put him in that class.
And he said he's playing left field. I don't know if that means he's a starting left fielder, but he was quick to say, DeRosa said, I'm going to play left field. So it sounds like he's going to get plenty of game action.
I think they had 4 on the roster, when Corbin Carroll went down with that handmade fracture. So PCA, and then you've Buxton and Judge and Roman Anthony. So my only concern would have been okay, how many outfielders are they going to cover? Because this is, as we mentioned, USA is going to be there to the semifinals, to the finals. They're going to play to March 16th, 17th. This team breaks camp on the 23rd or whatever it is. So this is going to be their camp for these guys to go to WBC. So it's great. It's a great honor. But is he going to play? Is he going to get at-bats? It sounds like he will, which is really the most important thing. Get your work in.
By the way, he was there as a fan when Ohtani struck out Trout in the final game last time around. I asked him, he thinks that was the last time he paid for tickets as a fan.
Probably going to be the last time ever.
Last time ever.
Probably.
Right? But it just goes to show, this tournament, listen, it doesn't always mean everything to everybody, right? It's still kind of a unique event. But he's a Florida guy. He was right down the road, got to go see it. He was talking about going back to when they won it in San Diego. He's all in. He loves this event.
Yeah, he played, 70 games last year? As you mentioned, a year ago, he's trying to make the team. Now he's got a long extension. He was fantastic. He got hurt at the end of the year, and he's in the WBC. But if you know him, if you see him talk, if you listen to him, he's not a rookie. He's not 21. This kid's about 26. He's been in the league for 5 or 6 years. If there's any young player that can go there, not be intimidated, and just go play his game, it's Roman Anthony.
Talk about where's the leadership coming from. Bregman's gone. Some of these guys, Ref Snyder's gone. Well, Roman Anthony's part of the leadership group. 21 years old doesn't matter.
Yeah,
it's becoming his team.
I think he's still in that lead by example category. Is the voice there? That's a big ask. Will it come as the season goes on? Maybe. But it's sort of okay, we know who maybe the best player on this team is. He's still young. There's still other voices. I'm still a little scorned he's not playing for Team Italy, to be honest with you.
I know you were.
I think we've lost a good one.
Yeah, well, maybe you said NIL money. Maybe Team
That's what it came down to. Apparently, NIL money.
USA's got that, no doubt about it. Let's hear from Roman Anthony when we come back. We'll continue. It's 3:10 to left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, live from spring training in Fort Myers. 3:10 to left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 3:10 to left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. Roman Anthony, your oldest champion, you got to get the group together for the coffee run because it's going to be a long day today. They're getting a late start to workouts because of those measurements for the ABS review system. Then full team coming out. We've got Garrett Crochet and Peyton Tolley both throwing 2 innings of live BP later, so plenty to look forward to. But just a little bit ago, about a half hour ago, Roman Anthony sat down and talked about the news that he was officially going to compete for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic.
Amazing. Yeah, it was one of those opportunities that you dream of as a kid. And for me, you know, watching the WBC growing up, watching all my favorite players, you know, represent the greatest country in the world. It's something you dream of as a kid. And to be able to get that phone call, obviously super unfortunate what happened, and you know, hoping for the best for him with a speedy recovery. But you know, it was exciting on my end to be able to just get that call.
When did you finally get the final word that everything was all set?
Last night, really, late last night, and got a text, said that everything was good to go, and so super excited.
Where were you when you got the call? Was it D-Row who called you?
Yeah. He called me a few days back, just letting me know that, you know, he wanted me to join the squad, and you know, pending physical and everything that I still had. But obviously, it's, you know, one of those calls that pops up that, you know, you just kind of light up, and like I said, just an unbelievable opportunity. So to even be considered in something like that with the group of guys that are there, it's going to be a blessing for sure that I'm looking forward to.
Does it feel surreal with, you know, 2 months in the big leagues that you're added to this roster and you've got all these established superstars and teammates?
Yeah, it's amazing. You know, just getting to be around those guys, I think getting that opportunity to be around the game's best and be around so many veteran guys who have done it for such a long time. It'll be a great learning experience for me, but at the same time, understanding that, you know, there's a goal that we have to, you know, try and, you know, come out on top, and at the same time, got to just be ready for everything.
Do you know when you're going to be leaving here to head over there to meet them?
I think early March, March 1st, I want to say, something like that, maybe even earlier. Like I said, I didn't really get the details until everything was cleared, so I'm sure they'll be reaching out with more details here soon.
So you say when you got to camp that you had no idea this was in play?
Not at all. No, yeah, when I got to camp, it was just, you know, I was going to be the one outfielder that was here, and you know, we have a bunch of guys going, so yeah, didn't expect it at all. AC mentioned it, and then, like I said, D-Row called, and from there we were just kind of waiting to see what would happen, but obviously hoping to be able to get this opportunity and to play for USA.
What have they told you about your role and at-bats and things like that?
Yeah, when D-Row called me, he said, you know, he wants me to play left, so didn't get into it too much. Obviously, like I said, when he called, it was more so, you know, hey, I'm super stoked, you know, regardless of where I play or whatever it is, like, this is an amazing opportunity to just be around these guys and be a good teammate and you know, represent this country. But I'm sure I'll get more details here soon. But yeah, as far as that went, you know, again, just we were waiting until last night, and then now I'm sure they'll be reaching out today with more details on everything.
Were you able to talk to Bregman about playing with him again for a couple weeks?
Oh yeah, he reached out when it happened, and we talked over the phone, and you know, he wanted to see where I was at, and you know, just kind of like check in, and obviously it'll be a great opportunity to take the field with him again.
Are you looking forward to brushing shoulders?
Obviously, Roman Anthony saying all the right things, a big honor for him, but it's also a reminder that this organization, beginning with Alex Cora, really believes in this tournament, right? Like, some organizations might, a little bit of resistance. This guy only played a couple months before getting injured. You talk to Corey, he believes this tournament to be great for a guy like that. Go, play the games, come back, be ready to go.
Well, yeah, regardless of really the outcome for him, right? But what if Roman Anthony goes in this tournament and leads the team in hitting? You talk about rolling into this spring training with confidence, right? Like taking another level. Even if he doesn't, he's still surrounded by some of the best, but the opportunity's there to, you know, to build some confidence in who you are. So I think this needs a superstar. I mean, he's a unicorn, you know, and he's going to ruin probably top prospects in this organization for the next 20 years because everyone's just like, well, if he's the top prospect, he's going to be like Roman, and they're just not.
You know, we talked about leadership, right? You come back from that, that's another check on the mark of becoming a leader. Not that he's doing that actively, but you just went and played left field next to Aaron Judge. You're coming back now as a World Baseball Classic champ.
Yeah, and teammates again with a guy like Alex Bregman, but it's you're surrounded with Alex Bregmans, right? You're surrounded with Aaron Judge. I don't know how much Judge is going to talk to him or give him tips and try to take it to the next level in the same division. But he had mentioned it before. Somebody had asked him who are you looking forward to, kind of listening to, and he's like, everybody. So you get around talent like that, and you start seeing how others work, their work ethic, their program, what their goal, because they're getting ready for the season too. You start learning things. This is what this game is all about. You never stop learning from somebody. You look at someone and say, listen, I was having trouble with that split or the curveball, the slider. You obviously you hit it real well. What is your mindset? So you just start getting tips from everybody to kind of fine-tune your game.
You talked about rolling back in, ready for the season. The closest, I'm a college hockey guy. The closest thing is the World Junior Championship every year. A bunch of guys from all the Hockey East teams ends up going to that, and they come back, and their confidence is at a different level.
Absolutely.
Right? Like all of a sudden, whoa, I faced Ohtani in the 9th inning with the game on the line and got an RBI single. That's got to carry into the season.
It does, and especially, when you start talking about some of these guys, you're coming in here, you're not facing, early in camp, you're facing AA, AAA arms. A lot. You might face a starter in the big leagues or a big league arm. He might come in and throw 2 or 3 innings of a 9-inning game, but you may not be able to face them. Right away, you're facing some of the best in the world. And it might be a little shock to the system early on. It's not going to be easy going out there hitting some of these guys that are dialed in at that level. But when you come back, you actually feel like you're actually more prepared. As long as you get at-bats. If he gets at-bats, he's going to be just fine.
All right, we're going to take a break and come back with more. Red Sox President and CEO Sam Kennedy will be joining us. Yesterday, he spoke to the media, but today he faces the tough questions as he'll sit down with us on 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, live from spring training in Fort Myers. We are back here in sunny Southwest Florida. It is the first Monday of full team workouts, officially reporting yesterday, President's Day, school vacation back home. I heard it's up in the 30s, so it's nice and warm. We won't rub it in. We are back here on 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers. We're joined by the president and CEO of the Boston Red Sox, Sam Kennedy. Sam yesterday sat down, talked to the media. We'll sort of run through some of that in a moment. But I want to start with today's news. Roman Anthony saying, officially told last night he had cleared everything. The insurance is good. He will go to Team USA. And I just said to Lou, you know, as an organization, and I know Alex Cora as an individual, you're very supportive of this tournament. You believe in this tournament. You know, early on, run it back to the first couple, there were a lot of concerns about injuries, how are these players being used. Do you feel the whole process has landed in a good place where guys can go and compete and come back and it doesn't interfere with anything you're trying to do?
We do, TC, and most importantly, the players are into it, and they want to represent their country. And look, we cannot grow this game to become the global force that it should become if we don't fully embrace, fully support international competition. There's nothing like playing for your country, and our guys are totally into it. So as management and ownership, yeah, you think, oh boy, like, please, God, no injuries. It happens. It's a part of competition, but we do need to support it. And I think we've got up to 14 guys that are maybe going to go representing like 10 different countries. It's extraordinary. I had a chance last WBC to see Puerto Rico and the Dominican play in Miami. It was one of the greatest baseball experiences I've ever had in my life. So it's really important to continue to grow the game. Yes, you cross your fingers and toes. It's tough, but we do need to grow this game and give guys opportunity to play for their country, so we're very supportive of it and excited about it.
Yeah, I know the offseason was a little bit crazy. You know, you look at this ball club, you see the elite pitching staff. Yesterday I saw the infielders take ground balls, tear in my eye. Because I mean, it was impressive. Got the guys out there,
guys after your own heart, right?
Yes, there's no question about it.
Plays,
It really was beautiful and
Everything
impressive.
looks good in February.
Yeah, they do. Is this the team you envisioned? It's a little bit different. Like when the season ended last year, is this the team you envisioned?
Well, we knew there was going to be some radical surgery to the team because we needed to improve in a number of areas: defense, pitching. Wanted to shore up the bullpen. The outfield was, largely set given the extensions and some of the guys have been here for a while. So, yeah, it is. It has a very different look to it. But the core guys are still here. Excited about the newcomers. And look, pitching and defense wins championships. We know that. So we did lean into that this offseason, but that's always a fundamental of any good baseball team.
Two of the things that were said is you wanted to address the rotation and get a number 2 in there. You could say it's Suarez, you could say it's Gray, whatever the case. You feel you did that. You want to improve the defense. By all accounts, you got a couple guys who have been really good defensively. Durbin, obviously, IKF's got a Gold Glove. So you did that as well. But there was also talk about adding power. Okay. And most will look and say you didn't really do that. Contreras comes in and sort of replaces Bregman. But is there enough thump in this lineup for the season?
Well, we certainly hope so. And you're not going to win. You can't just win with run prevention and pitching and defense. You got to score runs, and we recognize that. I think it's a great opportunity for Wilyer Abreu. You mentioned Wilson Contreras. We know what Jarren Duran's capable of. We know what Roman Anthony's capable of. We know what Trevor Story, who is the heart and soul of this ball club. So, look, guys are going to have to step up and to make sure that we do score runs. And I do think we have a little bit more balanced lineup, given some of the moves that Brez made, but that will remain a question mark until we start playing games and we start scoring runs.
Eventually we'll stop talking about Alex Bregman. Yesterday you addressed it and said, if he wanted to be here, ultimately he would be here. The narrative, it was very public. It seemed very public, and it always does from either side. Maybe it's coming from their side, but it did seem that no trade, the deferral schedule, were the reasons why he's not back in Boston. The narrative put it on you. Maybe more so than Alex Bregman.
Yeah, look, that's totally fair, and sometimes I get myself in trouble by saying too much. Then I get myself in trouble by not saying enough. So I think with Alex Bregman, I'll just leave it at huge gratitude for what he meant to this organization. He's an awesome guy. We loved having him in that clubhouse. Reagan and the family were terrific. Got to know his dad, who's, I think, running for governor of New Mexico. It's a great family. He is an all-world baseball guy and loved having him. He's now a Chicago Cub. He's going to come back at the end of the season. Hopefully we're both gearing up for October baseball and playing each other, and we really wish him well.
Running it back to last spring training, he arrives, Rafi Devers, that all happens. Was he willing to move? Was he not willing to move? Whatever the case, they're both gone now. If you could run it back 12 months, now you can't, but if you could go back, would you have handled things differently as an organization?
Boy, if I could go back 12 months, there's a lot of things. I'd probably look like Lou Merloni. I'd be eating better. I'd be working out more. I don't know. But you'd always make changes to things that you did or didn't do. We talked about it yesterday. Look, in the Rafi situation, I think we could have handled things better from a communication perspective. I guess, if I look back, put ourselves in that time period, we thought we had, but obviously we hadn't, and so there was a breakdown in communication, and so we dealt with what happened beyond that. It was probably one of the toughest decisions we've had to make as an organization in 24 years at the time of being here, and it was really hard and difficult, but we made the decision that we made, and we move on. And in this game, you have to look forward. I mean, sitting here in the sunshine, like we're looking forward towards 2026, and you got to do that. Otherwise, you could drive yourself crazy with regrets of the past.
In Boston, everybody always just yaps about payroll, right? And meanwhile, you look up and you guys, I think, are 6th. Right now, the CBA coming up, does that play roles into how you go into it? As far as where you guys are, where you're willing to go with the trade deadline? Are you guys looking forward to what that new CBA could be?
It's really hard, Lou, because you're right. We don't know what's going to happen with the collective bargaining agreement other than we're all incredibly hopeful that a deal is made at some point, prior to the deadline. That rests with the commissioner's office and the Players Association. So that just leaves us to focus on the 2026 Red Sox. We have a goal of taking the next step forward in October and ultimately winning a World Series championship. It's early, we're here in February, but we do think we have the pieces and the makeup of a club that could be really, really exciting this year. So all of our energy and focus is on the 2026 season. To your question, though, you have to be mindful of 27, 28, 29. That's why, the most important thing we can do is extend.
But you don't know the rules yet.
No, we don't know how the rules are gonna work. But we do know that locking down guys like Roman Anthony and Brian Bayo and having longer-term arrangements with homegrown guys who want to be here, that's a really good formula for success.
Tom Werner yesterday, I think he used the term powder, that we have some powder left to add to this team. I never heard that one. Yeah, that's adding to the mix. So, I mean, that's the question, right? You, as Lou said, you're 6th payroll. I think 3rd in the American League. By the way, 3rd in the American League East, too. So that's just a reminder how tough this division is. But are you all in at this point? Is there still room that if you address a need midway through this season, and that could be what it takes to get you over the hump, you can do that? Yeah, for sure. I mean, we always set up our operating plan to give us some room and flexibility in July around the trading deadline. That's been a consistent sort of hallmark of Red Sox organizations the last couple of decades, and great to have the boss say that. That's fantastic. He can say those things. Write that down. Write that down. Bring it out in July. That's right. 25 years. This is your 25th Major League camp as an ownership group. What have you learned? We don't have that much time, but I mean, honestly, what have you learned about yourself? I mean, you came in here, son of Brookline, huge Red Sox fan.
Pre-social media.
Pre-social media. Well, we will avoid that. And you've taken some arrows. That's part of it, right? Like you've heard the fans. Deserved. They have thrown it at you. Yeah. How much thicker skin have you had to become? How much have you learned about how this works in Boston? Yeah, unfortunately, my skin, I think, has not gotten as thick as it should be because for one simple reason, we take it so personally. We care so much. And I think, when I came in 2002 and 2003, it was kind of like, oh, yeah, we're in the American League Championship Series against the Yankees. This is unbelievable. And,
Booney hits that home run, it's like, oh, God, we are cursed. Wait a minute.
Yeah, thanks for bringing it up again.
Yeah. So then the tension rises in 2004, and it was like, wait, is this really happening? We're doing this.
Yeah.
Like, we're doing this. We're getting over the hump. And it was the Yankees. I mean, as much as the Cardinal series meant everything, 86 years, it was getting past the Yankees. Now I look back, and it's still like, did that really happen? Oh, my God, did that really happen? So it's more personal now when you have, I'm very blessed. My parents are still alive, thank God. My kids are a little bit older. They're just as angry now as every other Red Sox fan. So you take it more personally, and you want to win even more if that's possible. So not really great with the thick skin part, but it does go with the territory. And you realize, you have to remember, and the three of us have talked about this, like, it's rooted in passion. We care. I don't mean to offend the 29 other markets, but we care more, or at least as much, as every other market in baseball, because it's the Red Sox, because it's Fenway Park. We grew up with our parents and our grandparents caring more about the Red Sox than just about anything else in their lives. And when you don't reach those goals, it brings out that passion and anger and enthusiasm. And we recognize it, and we wouldn't want to be anywhere else. But it's important.
You mentioned it yesterday too. I think that was the one thing that kind of gets to you. People questioning whether you guys still care or not.
Yeah.
It may not agree with every decision, that is made, but sometimes it feels like people feel that you guys make decisions to lose more games.
Yeah, exactly.
It may not work, but you're trying to win more games.
It's interesting. I mean, you think about John and Linda Henry and their family, and Tom Werner and his wife Jen and son Teddy and Mike Gordon and Christina and their kids. Like, I mentioned the family names because they're at every single game. Like, they live, breathe. I mean, God knows my dad's at every game. I mean, he's keeping score, and we are all in, and we care. You guys know this, you feel the energy just out on the streets of Boston, in the community. It's up if we're winning, it's terrible if we're losing, and so we feel it each and every day. So that's the only sort of narrative that does, we make mistakes all the time. We make mistakes, we make bad signings or bad trades, or we miss out on signing a player, all that, bring on the arrows, complain, scream, yell. But the notion that somehow we're not doing everything we can to win and we don't care is completely false, and something that it hurts. You're like, no, we care. Maybe we care too much, and we are focused on the now, but we also do have to be focused on the future, and that's probably the biggest disconnect between management groups and the fan base. Because as a fan, you want to win every night. You want to go 162-0, right? Yeah. And we should. You do want to go 162-0, but you also want to go 162-0 in 2027 and 28 and 29. So you balance near term and long term. That's the hardest part of the job.
Year 3 of Craig Breslow. There's no getting around the fact that the average lifespan of the president of baseball operations has been 4. Going back to Theo, what has he done, and what's different about maybe where you are right now? Not to speak poorly of anybody before him, but what has he done over these 3 years that has given you full faith that he's the guy to keep running this?
Yeah, number one, he's incredibly decisive. Number 2, he got us back to the playoffs. And now I say he's got unbelievable men and women and individuals in that organization who do everything in their. And we got a couple hundred employees who are supporting Brez, but he's our leader in baseball operations. Red Sox, I think we won 89 games, back into the postseason. He knows. I mean, he stood on that mound and won a World Series, right, at Fenway Park. He knows how important it is. And he, I think, has learned a lot about balancing the dispassionate need to be ruthless sometimes in decision-making as a baseball operations leader versus being that 13-year MLB veteran who bounced around, who got cut, who was sort of a journeyman left-hander, who has a World Series ring and knows what it's like to dump champagne on other people after winning it all. Boy, it's from my perspective, growing up a fan versus being a player in that clubhouse, and ironically, it's exactly why we hired him. We wanted to have that balance of Brez, the big league left-handed reliever, knowing what it means and what it's like to win in Boston, but also having the intelligence and the experience and the discipline to focus on the near term and long term.
I want to ask you finally, I know you said, you can't talk about the collective bargaining agreement negotiations, what's going on, and you're focused on this year. But you also told me at Fenway Fest that you're an optimist by nature, and you believe optimistically that this will get done. Is that optimism still there?
It is, just because Commissioner Manfred has a long track record of negotiating CBAs, a long track record of keeping the game going. I was a part of the 1994 labor dispute as an intern. We all got let go. Shocker! The interns went first. Gone. Turn in your Yankee ID at the front desk, and go home, go back to school, whatever it is. But I'll tell you, it was a great lesson in labor relations and how it impacts everybody, and specifically how it impacts fans. So nobody wants to hear, especially in an environment where we had an amazing postseason, great World Series. The rule changes have really brought baseball back to the forefront. So I'm optimistic that we'll be able to continue and keep playing beyond 2020. I mean, we're going to play beyond 2026. It's just a question of how the negotiations go, and people really don't want to hear much about that, and thankfully we're not a part of that, other than we support Commissioner Manfred and all his team that are working on this, and hopefully everyone will find common ground.
Well, the latest rule change to the ABS, you got to go get your measurements to see exactly how tall you are for your strike zone.
Let's go.
Sam, we appreciate the visit as always.
Thanks, DC. Thanks, Lou.
Sam.
Hope springs eternal here at Spring Training.
Always.
It always does. We'll take a break, come back with more 310 to Left, presented by your New England Ford dealers, rolling on from Fort Myers after this. 310 to Left is presented by your New England Ford dealers, who've been taking everyone out to the ball game at Fenway Park for decades. Catch Ford next time you're at Fenway, including in the Ford Clubhouse, a full-service bar perfect for bringing your lineup together and for recording our live edition of 310 to Left. It's all brought to you by your New England Ford dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling trucks for 48 years and the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. There's Jaron Duran in there getting measured with everybody else for his strike zone for the coming season. Also another guy who's going to be leaving to compete in his second consecutive World Baseball Classic. He will be our guest later today when we come to you with Red Sox from Fort Myers, presented by Mass Mutual, an official partner of the Boston Red Sox. We'll hear from Duran as there was so much talk about an outfielder maybe getting traded in the offseason. They're all here, and they're all headed to the World Baseball Classic. You just heard from Sam Kennedy. Red Sox chairman Tom Werner was here yesterday, caught up with him about the season ahead. 25 years of having these meetings. You know what I mean? Just today. Is it still, do you still get butterflies walking in that room?
It never gets old. Anybody who's spent the winter in Boston, and here we are, would say, you know what, Happy New Year. And it's been 25 years, as you know, it's been a long time, but the fact is that no team has won more World Series in this century than the Red Sox. So those 4 World Series rings mean everything to me.
Sam was saying the message today was about family. Family members had taped videos, and that it was a really emotional meeting. Was it different than anything you'd had here?
Well, it was an emotional meeting. What I said today was that all these people who are here for you, and there are a lot of new faces here, are here to support you. And we have your back. And when I look at the people in the room, you know, of course I'm looking at Garrett Crochet and Chapman and Story, but I'm looking at Jason Varitek, who you know, has been in this organization as long as I've been in here. And for 20 years, I was scared to even say hello to Jason. But there's Jason Varitek. And, there's Alex and Craig and Raquel, and your medical staff, Pete Asnes, John Galula, and we're all here. We have your back, and we really are a family.
With that support back home comes the passion. With that passion comes the criticism when you fall short. You've heard that now. You haven't won the World Series since 2018, right? And this is a city that expects nothing short of that. Is it fair? I know you've gotten used to it because you set those same expectations, right? But what's your reaction when fans say we need to do more?
Well, we had a goal last year, which was to make it to postseason. And our goal this year is to win the World Series. And there's some great teams like the Dodgers. But I think we improved in the offseason. That was our directive to Craig. I think we have as good a pitching staff as any in baseball. We needed to improve our defense, and I think we've done that. And, fingers crossed we'll stay healthy and play October baseball.
Everybody says you pivoted in the offseason. I said to Craig, well, that sort of assumes that you know exactly what's going to happen in the offseason. You don't, right? Off-seasons go a number of ways. Are you still, part of you, a fan when you hear, hey, we might get this guy? You get excited? Have you?
Of course, but I also know that depth is one of the most important parts of winning. And you could see that who the star of the 7th game of the World Series was that center fielder who made that incredible play. It wasn't Ohtani.
Right. No, that's right. And you've brought in some depth, obviously, that Alex has been really excited about. I feel like with the ABS review system coming in, we're sort of getting to the end of what's been a few years of trying to improve the product. As a steward of the game, are you pretty happy with where the product is for fans right now?
Well, we certainly have improved the quality of the game. The pitch clock has been an enormous attractive element. I think that one of the things that has made the game more exciting is that in a long season, athleticism has shown how important that is to winning. That, you have these, it's really a marathon, but you have these young players who are incredibly athletic. I mean, on any given day, you see these defensive plays that were extraordinary. And so that, of course, makes the game more exciting, more dynamic. And I think the addition of ABS is going to be fun for the fans because you don't want a game decided on a wrong call. And there's some games that are obviously the umpires made a mistake, and so we're going to be able to fix that.
I'll ask you a different version of this question every year. So this is young Tom Werner walking into a Hollywood studio with his first ever show. Give us the pitch on the 2026 Red Sox. Like if you're telling fans what this story is going to be, why you should watch.
I think that we have, from Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony to Garrett Crochet to Trevor Story, we have stars here, and come out and watch the stars and watch us play.
Interesting that he goes there, right? Because that's sort of what some people have criticized. There's no stars. This is the team of Rafi Devers and Mookie Betts and Xander Bogaerts and on and on. Who's the star here? Well, Roman Anthony, another step forward towards becoming that guy with the World Baseball Classic. Garrett Crochet. There are guys here they believe are stars. Young stars,
Right? Not like 8-year veteran stars that have been here for a while, but for a few years, this is exactly what was missing. I remember 3 or 4 years ago, it was, whose jersey do I buy? Maybe it was Rafi Devers back then. Because it was in and out, right, of different guys. Now you look around and you say your catcher's going to be here for a while, your first baseman's going to be here for a while, right? Marcelo Meyer, and then you're looking at a guy like Caleb Durbin, your outfield, all these guys. So now all of a sudden you look around and you've seen Crochet for a while, Chapman's here again, Whitlock's here again. So for years you turn the TV on and say, I don't know these guys. Right? They change it every single year. I don't think you say that anymore. I think you're starting to see the build of a core moving forward for the next 3, 4, 5, 6 years.
Also interesting that he said our goal is to win a World Series. And it seems obvious, but they don't say that every year.
No.
You remember a few years ago, Sam Kennedy said, there'll come a time when we go all in with this group, but we got to build it up. Now they believe they are there. Can they be there this year? Can they compete for a World Series championship this year?
Yeah, I think it's about health, games played. Tell me how many games played William Abreu, Roman Anthony, Trevor Story play. Those are key factors in that. The rotation, can it stay healthy? They could pitch. There's no question about it. What people also forget is that at the deadline, there's other ways to improve your team. Maybe the first half you don't hit as many home runs. At the deadline, you find a home run hitter, right? That 18 team was fantastic. You're not doing anything if you don't get Pearson involved. You don't win it.
There's powder left.
It's a powder, a little powder.
That's it for 310 to Left, presented by New England Ford Dealers and F-Series, America's best-selling truck for 49 years, the official truck of the Boston Red Sox. See you tonight with Red Sox Fort Myers.